Hello, and welcome to Cybeats Powerhouse Perspectives. My name is Chris Blask. I'm the Vice President of Strategy with Cybeats. I'm calling from Sam Clemens, just offshore of the Boca Chica Naval Air Station in the Florida Keys today. And with me is Tom Alrich, who knows an awful lot about SBOMs and has been in the industry working on power systems for a great deal of time. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. So, as we were discussing before this recording, what I'd like to do is tap your cynicism, right? One of the things that's given me hope as I go through this is that it's not just a bunch of utopian wishful thinkers, which I cast myself in that lot, but it's very pragmatic folks like yourselves who are very involved with it, moving it forward. And we put together a question, I think that can speak to the history of how we got here, as we like to do in these conversations, and get into what we need to do right now. So, Anthony, if you can put that up. So you've been heavily involved with what was originally the Department of Commerce, is now the Department of Homeland Security, the CISA SBOM initiative. And considering that compliance with the SBOM provisions in the executive order is due for federal agencies in August, how confident are you that we're going to be able to hit those goals?
Well, compliance will be very easy because all the agencies have to do to comply regarding SBOMs, you just ask for it from their suppliers. And presumably they'll do that. Although the contract language, I don't know where that stands, the FAR changes, but they will get the SBOMs because the suppliers have SBOMs now. It's not a question of their being ready, but the issue is what the agencies will do with them when they receive them. And right now, I mean, an SBOM is nice. You can look at it, you could print it out, and you can frame it and put it in your living room. That's all good stuff. But, if you have any number of components in there, you just can't deal with it in a non-automated fashion. And currently, there are no consumer tools that will ingest both SBOMs and VEXs. Now, you might say, well, that's, it's still a long time before the EO is due. The EO is due, compliance is in August for this part of the EO. And sure, that's a long time away, but, there are various things in the way that pretty well preclude, the tools being available by that time. The most important one of which is the VEX format, where the initiative is working. There's a VEX committee, which I've been on since their second meeting, and I'm afraid it's gotten a little bogged down with some issues that probably should not have been addressed at this point because they weren't really necessary, and has kind of neglected the issues that should be addressed. And unfortunately, I don't see the format that they're working on, which is based on the European, international CSAF format, which is a votability disclosure format. I don't see the VEX format that they're working on being ready for, maybe 5 or 6 months. And that's too late for August compliance with the EO. I mean, the agencies are going to have all their tools in place and all their people trained and everything like that, I would say starting in May, and they can't get a tool delivered in July and expect to be able to use it in August. So, and plus they got to order the stuff too. And as far as I know, federal agencies don't usually have the ability to snap their fingers and get whatever they want delivered to their door next day by Amazon. So, so the problem is I don't see tooling being available for end users, but I do see services being available. There will be there will be third parties who will provide services to do what the tooling would do. So, but that's not what the SBOM initiative is focusing on now. So that it's really more a change that it has to really focus on that in order to make sure that everything is in place for services to be there. But services can be there.
Well, I'm serious about this. I'm always trying to temper my optimism, right? But all I'm hearing in that is delay on the federal side, right? But
delay,
if the August deadline, can't be hit by summer, all and so forth. At the same time, we do have inside the U.S. federal government agencies and people working and putting stuff in place that a year and 2 and 3 ago we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then the as a private sector focused person myself, I look at Kent Landfill, McAfee, right? What's now 8-9 years ago, the effort internally to do similar sorts of things for similar sorts of reasons, not because there was a government mandate, but because it lowered their costs, made it more efficient, more competitive. And I see a lot of that in the vendors, same folks we talk to all the time. There's a lot of the same folks that I do. They're doing these things for a lot of reasons prior to the executive orders. The EO is a forcing function, yes. And the as an American citizen, I care about my government and I want my federal government to do all these things better. But is it, you think, just a matter of delay, or is there some critical crack? I mean, if we don't hit the August.
Well, as far as delay, no. I mean, they can push back the EO. The problem is, it's not going to look very good. I'm not, there was a big debacle.
I look like this, so.
Pardon?
I look like this. Looking good is only worth so much, right?
I see.
Yeah, black eyes at the presidential level, fine.
No, I mean, it's going to be more kind of, the implementation, the people in the initiative and things like that. But I'm not really worried about that. But, the question is, are we on the really right path to change that? Now, I think tooling will eventually come. And it would come a lot faster if some changes were made. For one thing, the current VEX format that's being worked on by the VEX committee within the initiative is, there are problems with it, with the CSAF. I'll be quite honest. And I don't see them being resolved very quickly. So, but just 3 weeks ago, the Cyclone DX project came out with their own VEX, which would work right away. So actually, and once that's available, then the tools can immediately be developed. In fact, because the Cyclone VEX is based on Cyclone format, although it does work, by the way, with SPDX as well. You don't have to have Cyclone. So you could actually, the tooling would actually be fairly easy to develop. So I think it would be actually pretty quick. You could pretty quickly get the tooling, because the VEX is really what's holding up the tooling, in my opinion. And so, but it would require a big change from the way the group is planning it right now. And I don't see initiative for that change, but maybe it will happen. I certainly hope so.
Well, yeah, sometimes there's enough demand that solutions are just driven. And I feel that, as VEX is fascinating. So we're a little bit vexed right now. I don't know if we even agree that multiple VEX are vexing or vexes. But yeah, that issue has to be resolved. And I'm always worried about the around the edges. Are we missing something fundamental? This is a matter of people agreeing to standards. And we have issues of country of origin, how you even define that on a real operational level to use that. There's a big Easter egg we need to get to at some point.
Well, I don't think it's an issue. We're worried about that. At least not for software.
Yeah, I don't want to get lost in that rabbit hole, because I think we are, but not yet, and we'll get there eventually.
Well, it's not in the standard now. I wouldn't I mean, in the formats, I wouldn't try to push it in there.
Yeah, so we have this formatting issue we worked through, and I wanted to, because you're involved in what I think is the most interesting SBOM POC right now, which is the Department of Energy, U.S. Energy Grid, for a lot of reasons. That everybody understands the grid, so we can all get our heads around, people at home, people in the industry, people in related industries, and everybody except about me is related to the reliability of the grid all the time, and it will crank through. There's an inevitability to that. Right, the Department of Energy and all of Idaho National Labs and all the folks involved with that will do their job. And when they run up against roadblocks like formats of vulnerability exploitability exchange, for anybody who doesn't know what VEX is, they have to find an answer and they'll get through it. So, and I haven't been following as much as I should the energy POC at the moment. Where are they and how's that going? Do you think that'll help with this issue and get us through this in general?
Well, I mean, we were currently in an educational mode. We were hoping to start exchanging SBOMs last year. And frankly, this is what kind of woke me up, is we couldn't get interest. The suppliers, we had some major suppliers willing to exchange SBOMs, really wanting to do that. And we couldn't get the utilities interested in using them. So now the question is why? Well, if there's no tool, what are you going to do with them, And so I think that's what the reason is. There may have been other reasons, but so we're not exchanging SBOMs right now is the question. And neither is the autos POC 2, if you want to ask about that one. But there's still lots of education that can be done, and we're going to start up. We took January off, but we'll start up again in February, as will the initiative under CISA. I mean, for the initiative as a whole, there will be 4 working groups that'll be meeting, although they won't meet weekly like they were previously. It'll be, maybe twice a month and maybe once a month, and then the rest will be done through emails, which will be better for most people, I think. So, and Alan has chosen some very good topics for the 4 groups. None of them are the same as what they were under NTIA. And so, there are some really good things. There will be some good meaty stuff done. None of that solves the short-term problems that would hold up, compliance with the EO.
Right. So, and that actually takes us, to the planned, third question, where we've been, where are we right now, where are we going? And I take I think a fairly conservative view to this. I see this calendar year unfolding and achieving certain things down this path. It's not going to solve the world's problems on supply chain security, but I think this time next year will be on different topics, and certain things that are contentious right now will be fixed in place. We'll all agree and we'll go forward. So what are your thoughts looking at the next couple of years? In a matter of calendar years, this year, next year, if assuming we do or don't, if we take too long coming up with a VEX format, is that going to add 12 months to this whole mess? Or any thoughts about the near-term future that you have about this?
Well, as I said, I think the VEX format is there now. It's a question of whether we want to use it or not, and that's the cyclone one. But I don't think the energy sector will be any different from any other sector, really, in implementing SBOMs. I mean, there's no sector now that's using them, period, in any fashion. The only industry I know that's using them intensely is the European auto industry. And they have like 4 big, OEMs, they call them, the car makers, right. The Mercedes and, VW and Porsche, but they don't, and then they have about 4 or 5 suppliers who are, so they're providing SBOMs to the auto industry. So there's very little use going on, period, of SBOMs. And so energy is going to be no sooner than the others. I don't see these being widespread use for. least year. There's a lot to be done.
We just lost that. You don't see these being widespread use for the next couple of years.
3 or 4 or 5, even. You know,
There you go.
I mean, it'll gradually build up, but there's just a huge amount that has to be done. There are a lot of holes that have to be filled, and you know, they will get filled, but you know, people should not overestimate how quickly we can, you know, get them. It's not going to appear magically. It's going to move up very gradually, and there are going to be roadblocks at each way. We're going to go ahead. Oh my gosh, now we got to do this, and then we'll say, oh, we got to do this. I mean, hopefully most of it can be anticipated in advance, but some of it won't be, and therefore, you know. But the nice thing about it is it's not. There's value in SBOMs, even if you don't have them for every device you have or every piece of software, and you don't have all the components. You know, just learning a little bit about components for one piece of software gets you further than you are now, which is not knowing anything about components for any software. So it's, you know, the nice thing is you can build incrementally, and it's not like you're wasting your time. You just don't have the information you would have, you know, you will have in a few years. So,
and that's not so bad. Well, Tom, thank you very much for all you do for the community and your work in this space, and time spent with us here today. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Bye, folks.